I'm going to be doing most of my concentration for this camera here instead. So if I look like I'm ignoring you, sorry, but I can only focus on one camera at a time. And since this video will probably be deleted, I'm going to make this one the more important one. And anyway, when I make this video, I'll be using Stewie Griffin. I'll do kind of like a Stewie Griffin impersonation for the Atheist. Okay, and when I read the Atheist words, I'll be using this side of my face. When I use my words, I'll be using that side of my face. Yeah. So, okay, here it goes. By the way, this video is this all started when I left a comment on a Stephen Hawking video, where Stephen Hawking tried to give his theory as to why he doesn't believe in God, and has tried to give his theory as to why time isn't eternal, that it just happened. Basically, that before the Big Bang there was no time, and that's what got me talking here. So I will now do this dialogue between myself and the Atheist here. Seems to me the most intelligent people on this planet would be agnostics, for no one can tell what it was before the Big Bang to make it the Big Bang. And I said, you know, Stephen Hawking mentioned in this video that he was grateful, and I said, grateful to what? And anyway, then an atheist jumped in. I won't give his name because I don't want to. I want to protect his anonymity. Yeah, but he said this. He said, well, first, this is what he said to a guy named Clark, because Clark said this. Clark said, so where did you get this figure of 93% of scientists are atheists? Make it up? Science is itself is a religion, and that got the Kurosawa guy saying to him, I think you meant to send that to me, so I'll reply. 1. Science is not a religion. Religion is drawing a conclusion, and then trying to find evidence for it, and science is finding evidence, and then drawing a conclusion based on that evidence. There is a big difference. 2. They had a poll, and 93% of scientists said they were atheists. And then he attacked me for what I said. And he said, agnostic isn't a state of belief. I think he meant belief. But he said, isn't a state of belief. I think he meant belief. Okay. It is a state of knowledge. Everyone is agnostic. You're either an agnostic atheist or an agnostic theist. So yes, the most intelligent people on this planet are agnostic. Agnostic atheists, to be exact, 93% of them are. But so are the most retarded. Everyone is. I go, 2. According to our current understanding of science, the Big Bang couldn't have a before because it is what created time. It created time for this universe, but it doesn't answer how it came about to create a Big Bang, which opens the door to faith on either theist or atheist. The Big Bang is literally the beginning of time. Only for our universe, not for what was it that would create the Big Bang. To go there again opens the door up to the possibility of God. There could have been nothing. There could have been nothing before it because there was no time for anything to exist before it. That's like saying that before there was God, there was nothing. Then suddenly God exploded onto the stage and created everything. You realize that, don't you? I know it is confusing, but it is true. Can't just believe that the time or God was always present.
For doesn't science say that matter and energy can't be created, only changed? What it comes down to is that you have to believe time was always present, or as the Bible says, God is eternal, or as the Bible says, God is eternal, and thus was always present.
Just look up a documentary on the subject.
I have, and found it lacking. It always opens the door up to the eternal, which to me, an eternal God can easily feel just as easy as eternal time can.
I suggest the documentary about by Stephen Hawking.
Sorry, but he doesn't show me much. I do admire his ability to carry on, though.
It is a pretty good documentary. He explains the evidence and explains why this means there could have been nothing before it.
In other words, he's like a theist who just believes God suddenly appeared and is not eternal, like the Bible says. He just appeared out of nowhere. In other words, at time, he just appeared out of nowhere. True?
At the end, he even explains more specifically how it is impossible for a God to have existed before the Big Bang.
If God can't exist outside of time and space, then I agree. But the Bible says different, and explains how science is right about nothing can create nor how nothing can create nor destroy energy. Thus, energy and time could never be created without something outside time and space, i.e., eternal God.
You say only for our universe, not for what it was that would create the Big Bang. To go there again opens the door up to the possibility of God. Not just our universe. Just look at Curiosity Episode 1. Did God create the universe? That's where this bit is from me. Now, that is where this bit is from. That would put my and Stephen's words into context. Until you've seen it or seen something comparable, there is no point in arguing since you don't understand the physics behind my argument.
What is there to understand? Either believe time for this universe began with the Big Bang, or something was before the Big Bang that would cause the Big Bang, that is the possibility of God. Sounds like you believe the former?
Is a God possible? Sure.
Really?
Is it possible that God created our universe? No.
How come?
That already excludes every non-monotheistic God I know of, meaning that even if a God did exist, which she most likely doesn't, she does not give shit about being worshipped.
How so?
Based on this, it is safe to say that even if heaven and hell did exist, your faith will have nothing to do with in which one or two you get. Because that's like saying that, you say, quote, that's like saying that before there was God, there was nothing, then suddenly God exploded onto the stage and created everything. You realize that, don't you?
Right, I asked that.
So what you are suggesting is that God is nothing more than a lot of water in an astronomically small space that exploded?
Can't believe God thought that incredibly small space up with all that would become the universe and said, let there be light. If God was limited, I can imagine you'd think that. But the Bible seems to say otherwise.
I'm sorry, but such a thing does not qualify for being a God, since it has nothing to do with the definition of God.
And the definition of God is?
The definition of God being, 1, God. A being conceived as the perfect, omnipotent, omniscient, originator and ruler of the universe, the principal object of faith and worship and monotheistic religions. 2, the force, effect, or manifestation or aspect of this being. 2, a being of supernatural powers and attributes, believed in and worshipped by a people, especially a male deity, thought to control some part of nature or reality. 3, an image of a supernatural being, an idol. 4, one that is worshipped, idolized, or followed. Money was their god. 5, a very handsome man. 6, a powerful ruler or despot. And then he gives the
the app. You don't know. You want to. I want to tell you something. You want to know something. You want to know something. Whenever I try to categorize God, I end up being proved wrong. God doesn't seem to fit in the boxes we try to place God in.
It does not apply to any of these, since it does not even have a personality, nor is it used in figurative speech.
So your point is...
And by the way, the fact that you use the word exploded already shows your ignorance on the subject. Nothing exploded, it just expanded.
Expanded from what? And what was that point that what came from? Oh, but then that would take faith to believe whatever that what was. Just don't call it God, true?
I suggest you actually study the subject before you start making ridiculous claims like the Big Bang was a god that exploded.
Well, if you don't want to believe God willed the universe into existence, hey, who is the one believing a God? Time, in this case, exploded. No, expanded into what we have now.
I have, and have found it lacking, you say. It always opens up the door to the eternal, which to me is an eternal God can easily fill just as easy as eternal time can.
Right, I said that.
1. Oh, really? What was the name of the documentary?
What do you mean?
2. Assuming you did actually see a documentary until you make a video disputing every single argument and piece of evidence in said documentary, your argument is meaningless and doesn't hold any substance.
Oh, well, refresh my memory on what it was that I said I found lacking, please. Oh, I see. No one documentary, just what I have taken in by watching many documentaries on the notion of the prime mover or lack of one from the atheist perspective. That's all.